Hello everyone and welcome to my coloring corner. Today is Collection Selection Saturday and it is this month of February. This will be the first video for the month of February. And February is watercolor month. So as you can see, I've got all the increments that I need for the different types of watercolor that we have available. Hello everyone, how are you all today? Hello Brooke, hello Calamity, hello Kenny, hello Bailey, lurk away darling. Hello Jamie. Hello. Good morning everyone. I am a little behind today because I'm running around like a chicken with my head cut off. Hello B. I'm trying to gather together all of the different watercolor stuff that we have. Yeah. I have a lot more watercolor stuff than I thought. I only put together some of it. We'll see what gets pulled. So, of course, we have watercolor paintbrush water pens. A water pen is a brush that holds water. It's very self-explanatory. This one is a Caran d'Ache, and it has a little pump on either side to make the water flow if it doesn't flow on its own. So these ones here are all Caran d'Ache. This one here is kind of a cool one because it has a marker nib, which is really kind of cool. Works really well for working with watercolor pencils. Yes, I do have more watercolor than last year. Good morning, Ghost. And then, of course, we've got our different paintbrushes. These are just basic paintbrushes. I don't know what they're called. The one I use the most is this one. And some of the smaller ones for details. And then we have our Tombow water-based blender and several other water-based blenders. So I have a Caran, I have the Koi, and I have the Finesse as well. These all work great for watercolor pencils as well. And then this one here as well, which is just a Koi, but all the writing came off of it. Hello, Pamela. And then, of course, we have our alcohol markers, which work great for activating your Inktense and that sort of thing. So, and of course, we have the cauldron. So what we're going to do is we're going to pull a type of watercolor medium out of the cauldron, and then I'm going to choose a book based on that medium, because there are certain books that you just don't want to use certain watercolors in. Why do you feel dumb? Don't feel dumb. Oh my goodness. Yeah, no, Rachel Minsk is a company, dear. Rachel Minsk is a company. Hello, Alex. Oh, Alex, I have something for you. So I will talk to you after we get back. So after the stream today, we have to run out and do some errands. Saturdays. These ones here are just basic watercolor brushes. They're inexpensive. You can find them pretty much anywhere. Most watercolor paint sets come with them. I do believe that these came with some of my watercolor brush markers. Yeah, no. Rachel Minsk, Jade Summer, Rachel Minsk, and Black Arts Studios. There's a bunch of different ones that are companies. Kimberly Hawthorne Life Escapes is a company. Yeah, it's for your kiddos. You want to see it? I can go grab it. Nobody else will. Yeah. I think Coco Wyo might be a company. I'm not sure. I don't have any of Coco Wyo's stuff. I think I have one book of hers, and I'm not it's just not my thing. So I'm just going to grab this thing for Alex real quick. Without dropping it. Oh, you are fine. I'm sorry. So, Alex, Bob made you things. Yeah, so Cocowayo is another one that is a base company with several different artists in it. So what this is, so as many of you know, Alex is an instructor, teacher for disabled children. And Bob printed this for her for the kids. And it's a 3D printed fidget spinner. So it's a 3D printed fidget spinner, and he made her cases to hold them all in. I know Rachel Minsk outright states in the front of their book that they are a company. But yeah, I was tricked too. I thought it was a person as well until I contacted them about a book that I thought was stealing from them, and they contacted me back and said, yeah, no, those are purchased from this company, the same company that we purchase our illustrations from. So they're a company. Oh, I'm sorry that your bubble was busted. Yes, Teresa Goodridge is a real person. Creative Haven is a company. Teresa Goodridge is a real person. All of the artists that are listed on the books in Creative Haven are actual people. They're actually the artists for that book. No problem, I will. Hello, Jen. So yes, Teresa Goodridge is a real person, and she's adorable. Yes, she is definitely a real person. Hello, Amy. Welcome, welcome. Hello, Mona. Good morning, darling. So we are starting off watercolor month. I have so many different watercolor mediums that when I was doing the list last night, I went, hello, Bill. Walk away, darling, walk away. You are fine, Pamela. You are fine. Yes, he would enjoy that, Alex. He would enjoy that. Ooh, going shopping. Nice. I hope you enjoy yourself. Hey, Bill. Um, Bill, make sure that she spends lots of money. Yeah. Well, I'm going to the cauldron of collection here. Let's see what we have coming out of the cauldron of collection. We're going to shake it up really good. And pretty much everything that I use can be interchanged. So for example, if I choose watercolor pencils. You can definitely use ink tints instead of watercolor pencils. If I choose water brush pens, you can definitely use palette paint as well, or pan paint, whatever you want to call. All right, so who's ready? Who's ready for the cauldron? No doodling supplies? No, that's not fair. All right, so here we go. Ready? Let's see. I don't know why that one was in there. Okay. Yeah, that was Faber-Castell Polychromos. I don't think that's it. So, ready? Ready? Daniel Steele watercolor, or yeah, I think it's Daniel Smith watercolor. So the Daniel Smith watercolors are in the ones I have. You can get them in palettes. You can get them in tubes. This is so we're going to move these because we're not going to be using those. We may use these and these because this is the Daniel Smith. So they're extra fine watercolors. They come in little tubes or little pans. I have used the little tubes and placed them in here. A wonderful subscriber that I have not seen around in a very long time sent me these, and Bob printed me the palette for them. Daniel Smith. So we will be using Daniel Smith watercolors for the first page. Yes, watercolors in a tube. So this basically what you do is you can either put this directly on your palette and gently add water, or you can put them into a palette like this, let them dry, and then move them around with water. So I'm going to grab my handy dandy water thing. So with this kind of watercolor, it is best to activate it before you start using it. So basically what I do to activate it is I grab my little water dropper here and I put a couple of drops of water in each one just to get it wet. And like I said, this palette is one of the palettes that Bob created. So it is available on my 3D print store. I do believe it's $25. Now you just let that sit and let it soften up that Yeah, yeah. Like I said, I wouldn't have these if I did not receive them as a gift. She was teaching me how to use watercolors, and she sent me this as a gift, and they're really nice. What did I miss? Bougie. Okay. Yes, the Daniel Steele is not one that I enjoy either. So because we're going to be using this type of watercolor, I'm going to grab the book that I was thinking of using for this type of watercolor. Now it's also Faebruary. There are several different artists as well as YouTube artists that are contributing to a event that's going on right now that is called Faebruary. So during the month at some point we will be doing something in with fairies. Now, I know that the Linda Ravenscroft books work really well with watercolor, so we might do this one. So I think we're going to do this one for Faebruary as well as watercolor month. Now, because I don't have a lot of skin tones in this, I may end up doing some of the skin tones with colored pencil. I'm not sure. I do have some browns, so I can do her skin. Yeah, I don't have a lot of whites or anything. Let's see if I have any white in my box here. Can't remember if I had any white. Don't think I do. It's indigo, crimson, black. So I don't have any in that one. I have black in that one, but I don't have white, brown, and the other brown. So I don't think I have any white. Oh, yeah, I do. Okay. I do. I have some gouache white, so that'll work. All right, so we're gonna end up mixing some things. So I need a palette. So the top of the paint palette that my husband made will work just fine. Yeah. Absolutely, gifts are nice. I love it when people give me things. Because usually it's things that I don't particularly buy for myself. So let's actually grab the regular palette just because. Actually, we'll just use this palette. All right, so I'm going to. Yes, tribbles are furry things from Star Trek. That is correct. All right, so I'm going to move that over there. I've got my paint over here. I've got my watercolor paint puck. This is a watercolor jar that has little nibs in the bottom of it so that it will wash the paint brushes as I use them and remove any kind of extra amounts of stuff. I also have some paper towel. All right, so I'm going to switch you over to the other screen here. So I'm going to actually switch you over to the close-up screen, but I'm going to keep this screen on as well so that you can see what I'm doing on the palette. All right, so let's see how bad we can do with this. Yeah, it does kind of look like a bird feeder, doesn't it? All right, so we're going to switch over here. And I think I'm going to zoom that out a little bit if I can. Just so that you can see it a little bit better. That's better. Okay. All right. So we're going to start on her face, I think. Oh, and I just dropped the lid to my white. All right, so the white that I'm going to be using is a Holbein white because I don't have any other white. And I'm just going to put it down on the palette right here. And then I'm going to take my thin pen and we're going to take, I do believe this one is, what color is that? Yeah, that's the purple. So we're going to take our purple and we're going to put it down on the palette. Absolutely. So we've got some purple on the palette. Now we're going to pick up some white. We're going to pick up a lot of white because we want to make this into a really light lavender color to do our shadows with. All right, I think that's light enough. Now we're going to just take up a little tiny bit onto our brush and we're just going to come in to where her shadows are. And I'm really hoping this book stands up to it. I may want to put something under the page, but yeah. Live and learn, I guess. Yep. All right, so I'm going to zoom you back in a little so that you can actually see what I'm doing because I zoomed you out too far. I'm not a huge Trekkie fan either. My husband is. All right. All right, so then we're going to go through here. And I'm using a #1 brush, which gives me a really fine line. Now, once we get the shadow colors in here, I'll come back through with another brush and soften them up a little bit. Just with a water brush itself. Now when you do this on your palette, you will find that it'll dry out. Just add a bit more water. It'll loosen it up. You are fine, Jen. Enjoy your shopping if you lose signal. Concentration is a thing. Just saying. If I go quiet, it's because I've got my tongue sticking out and I'm just trying not to paint over things I don't want to paint over. So we're just going to concentrate on her face right now. We'll go down into her neck as well. Now I'm trying not to use a lot of water because I don't want the ink of the page to move, and I don't know this book well enough to be confident that it's not going to. So I'm using as little water as I can get away with without, lack of color. All right, so now I'm going to take, I think, this brush, make sure it's clean, wipe it down, and then we're just going to drag that down a little bit, softening that edge, wiping off the excess water. If you find that it's dropping too much water on you, just wipe it off on a paper towel. If it drops too much water on the page, take your paper towel and dab it up. All right. Now we're going to do up in her hairline as well because I missed it. Excuse me. Yes, the box in the corner is just showing the palette. The extra fine is, like for example, this is extra fine. I think the granulated is a little bit chunkier. So it does not dissolve as quickly or as easily. Okay, I don't want to do that. I want to do this. So I'm just going to drag that down a little bit. I am not absolutely certain on that. Like I said, I am not a huge watercolor person. If Ashley was here, I could ask her. All right, so I'm going to wipe this down. Now we've got some white here and we're going to add some red. So I'm going to put some red down on the palette. Just a touch of this yellow. A little bit more. That's better. And then we're going to add the white. we get that all mixed in. I think I want a little tiny bit more, just a little bit of this red. Oh, yeah, too cold. I don't like it when it's too cold. I also don't like it when it's too hot. So I'm kind of, one of those people that's really hard to please. So I'm just extending the shadows a little bit. Like I said, I'm not extremely proficient with watercolor, so if this becomes a mess, I'm sorry. So I'm just putting the paint on the page, and then I'm going to smooth it out with my brush, my water brush, because it has clean water in it. All right, now I'm going to smooth it out with the water brush. Making sure that I don't put too much water down on the page. Like so. And it looks a lot more red to you guys than it does to me. Just saying. Oh, that makes it difficult, yeah. All right, just going to take a little bit more of the pink tone. I'm going to go into the ears. Spread that out. We've got our other ear over here that I completely neglected. Don't forget your ears, people. I forget ears. There's an ear hidden up in here. Up in here, up in here. There's an ear, there's an ear. Like so. Ah, yes. Well, if your chat is broken, you need to restart it. All right, so I'm going to take some of this red. I'm going to put it in here. And then I'm going to take a bunch of this yellow. Oh, too much yellow. Too much yellow. I wanted it to be a peach tone. That is just too much yellow. So we're going to add more red. I'll get into an orange kind of color. There we go, that's better. Alright, and then we're going to add a bunch of this white. We need more of the white. White is very important. I'm just going to put a big old drop of that in there because I want this to be a really light peach tone. I've got the orange tone in there. I've got the orange color going that I want, but I need to add that white to give it that peachy skin tone that I want. That's better. That's better. That's much better. Alright. So rinse my brush off. And we're going to pick up like I said, I'm going to go through with the other brush and smooth it out and drag it over top of other areas. Basically what it's going to do is it's going to thin it down a little bit so it's not so orange. And work it into the shadows. That's what I intend anyway. If this works, then great. If not, sorry. I'm sorry, Linda. I have completely all right. I know that looks terrible. I know that looks terrible. Hello, Marilyn. Awesome, Marilyn. Thank you. So I'm going to start with my water brush and I'm going to start moving that peach tone over. Thank you, Marilyn. I really appreciate that because I do not have a lot of information on watercolor. I play with it and make a mess is what I do with it. Ghost did have a question of what's the difference between extra fine ground and oh, now Ghost is going to have to ask it again because now I can't remember. Granulated, that's it. Extra fine ground and granulated. What's the difference? Sorry if I go quiet. I'll look up here in just a minute. Ah, okay, awesome. All right, now I'm just going to take my water dauber there, make sure that it's daubed up most of the water. Now I could use my dryer for this, and I probably should, but I didn't pull it out because, like I said, I'm running behind on everything today. So I'm just blending that peach tone into our shadow tones. And I'm making a mess, but we'll figure it out. We will figure it out together. Just going to pick up just a little bit of that peach tone. Add it in here and on her ear. Alright, so I've smoothed out her skin a bit. Awesome. Thank you, Marilyn. That's appreciated. Alright, so we got her face done, I think. I'm going to switch you over to the other camera because it shows the color a little bit better, I think. So that is her skin tone there. It's a little bit showing a little gray here. Let's see. There. So it has a little bit of that gray undertone to it. Now we're going to do her lips. Actually, I'm just going to fix this because I just noticed. It's all splotchy. Okay. Switch you back over. So there, that's actually a better rendition of the color with the light on. Alright, so let's do her lips here. And we're going to take yeah, I'm scared of doing that. I'm afraid. So I'm just going to add this into this white here. Me and water don't get along, so Going to pick up all that white into this pinky purple color. Alright, and then I'm going to dab it off because I went too far. And move it around a little, like so. Try to pick it up off of the separation of her lip there. Without going off of her lips. Alright, now we're going to take a little bit more of that red and put it back in there. And we're going to do we're going to take a corner of our paper towel here and we're going to make a dabbing tool. There we go. That's a little better. I'm just making a big old mess is what I'm doing. Yeah, I have gum arabic as well, and it's a really cool thing to play with when you're making your own watercolor. I made some with alcohol ink. I made some shiny stuff. Alright, now I have a small area next to her mouth there that has no color. And that area that needs to be repaired. There, I think. Alright, so we've got her mouth done. Looks like her eyelids need a little bit more of that color as well. So I'm actually going to take a little bit of the purple as well as the peach. That's better. Just try to even out her skin tone a little bit. Because I am not a master mixer. The fact that I came close to a skin tone is kind of magnificent for me. Hello, Catherine. Good afternoon. Uh, well, hello, Joyce. Sorry, just reading back on chat. I'm completely lost on chat, guys. Sorry. All right, so I'm going to take this blue and a little bit more of that white. And we're going to do her eyes. That was a lot more white than I wanted it to be, but that's okay. Now I'm just going to roll this and try to get a very, very, very sharp point. I don't know if I'm going to succeed. I may want to use a smaller brush. And then we're going to go back in, wash this off, and then we're going to take that same blue that we just made and we're going to add some darker blue to it. And again, get our brush nice and rolled out there. Like that. And there we have her eyes done. Absolutely not a problem at all, Marilyn. Answer away, dear, because I have no clue. And of course, I'm trying to read what you're putting because I have no clue. Alright, so I'm just going to go through here, clean it up a little bit. Alright, so we've got lots of different colors on our palette. So we're going to do her hair, maybe. Should we move on with the skin or should we do more of the hair? Ooh, yeah, don't do that. Yes, it's a very thin little brush. Alright, so we're going to move on to the rest of her skin, I guess. So I'm going to pick up this purple and just going to add a little bit more of this pink to it. I'm going to use what's on my palette because, you know, paint's expensive, you know. So because of the things on her skin here, we're going to go around them. Now I know I could have colored her skin other colors because it's a fantasy creature, but I wanted to see if I could actually challenge myself and create a skin tone out of what colors I have, which is no skin tones. So I think we were able to do that. And hopefully when it dries it'll look really good. For anybody that joined me over on the Patreon, I did do a video yesterday on oil-based pastels and how I use them. I will be continuing with that series this month. I will be going through and doing different things on how to use how I use oil pastels and how you can blend them and how you can, you know, basically create a very, very flat, dry area that you can put colored pencil on top of. So I'm just going through and painting in her tattoo area, her markings, as well as the shadows. I have not gone to Hobby Lobby in ages. It is one of those places I try to avoid, especially when I'm doing a no-buy. I am not buying any sort of art stuff for the next year. If I receive art stuff in the next year, it will not be because I purchased it. Okay, so going down her arm, putting in that shadow, as well as that highlight. Same with down here. I'm going to put more water on that. Pick up a little bit more of the pink. I am, I think, over cautious when I do watercoloring, so, or watercolor painting. Unless I'm doing a background, and then I just smush it around and hope it works. Yeah, that is true. That is true. I do enable you all, and turnout is, you know, it is fair play. However, I have willpower. Alright, so I'm just going to add some water and soften this up again. And then we're going to come across. Trying not to get onto her spikes. Like I said, I'm not too concerned about putting it in evenly right now because I am going to even it out with the watercolor brush, the watercolor pen. I do want a bit of that shadow color under her arm. Hello, Jessica. Yes. Hobby Lobby. Every crafter and artist's arch nemesis. Hobby Lobby and Michaels. Amazon. All right, so I'm going to spread this out now with the water brush. Evening it out. Make sure that we get up into all the areas. Pick up some of that water. All right. Now I want the markings on her shoulder to show through a little bit more. So I'm going to take some of my paper towel and I'm just going to give a dab. Try to cover the whole area so not to get any splotchiness. If you get splotchiness, just move it around again. There. I'm just going to take a little tiny bit. Just clean that up. All right, now we're going to do the same thing on the forearm. Yeah, no, don't do that when it's really hot out. Close yourself up in the house. No, not a good thing. I don't mind using watercolor paint. I'm not much for spray paints and things like that because they do bug my senses. I do that too, Jessica, so don't worry. Sorry if I'm behind on chat. I just looked up. That may have been 10 minutes ago, but hopefully my chat's not frozen. Spreading that down. The good thing about Linda Ravencroft's books is they are spiral bound, so you can just fold them over and you have a flat surface. You don't have to worry about the book getting in the way. I have actually. I used to actually do acrylic painting for relaxation. Um, I used to follow Bob Ross when I was younger. And he was on TV every Sunday. I can make a happy little tree. That, you know, I'm okay at making mountains and happy little trees. I do not do well with peoples or anything like that, but I can make a happy little tree. Yeah, me too. I wish more were spiral bound. It would make life so much easier. All right, just moving that color into the arm. Trying to remove any blotchiness. I actually saw that one of the spiral binders that I wanted for Christmas is on sale, of course, now that I'm on a no-buy. I put it in my cart to drool over it, and that was about it. Hello, Christina. Yeah. Yeah, I used to watch him live every Sunday. Like I said, I'm really good at making happy little trees. So just going through and evening it out a little bit. Just going to pick up some of that water. Hello, Danielle. And just pick up some of that water, like so. Now we're going to move on to her forearm here. I'll wipe that off. Grab my brush, painting brush. Did I miss B? Did I miss B? B was here earlier. Yeah. I was going to say, B was here earlier. I'm pretty sure I didn't miss B. Couldn't miss B. Yes, I have a heat gun as well. It is in my drawer because I am not fully ready for watercolor. Can you tell? Hey, I remembered to get the water. They're on sale on Amazon, Christina. You can get a really good one for like, I think it's $10 or $20 for a really good one. I was really surprised. If you have, if you know where my deals of the day is on my community tab, it's one of the last things on the list. Yeah, I just have a very basic generic one and it does just fine. You can get them pretty cheap. Alright, so there we have her arm. I'm just going to clean that up a little bit more. There we go. Now we're going to do her shadowing on her hand here, as well as her other arm, and then we'll do her hair. Because hair is scary to me. Just saying. So we're going to take some of the pinky purple here off of our palette. So can you see more now, Jamie, now that our palette's a mess? Jamie couldn't see what I was doing on the palette because it wasn't a mess enough. Hello, Crafty Mama. Welcome. Thank you very much for subscribing. All right. Just going to put those bits in, and then I'm going to smooth them out a little bit with the brush. All right. Now we're going to clean off our brush because we've got a bit of that skin tone on there. I know you didn't realize what it was showing because it was empty. There was nothing on there yet. So now that there's stuff on there, it should be easier to see what I'm doing. Yeah, when I'm working with a white paint on a white palette, kind of really can't see it. Because, yeah, that was smart of me, wasn't it? Should have just used the black part of the palette so you could see what I was doing. Awesome. Yeah, I have a guillotine cutter that works great for that. Cuts it right in half. But, you know, it's $5 a book at the Staples, so it gets to be kind of expensive when you have a lot of books. All right, so I'm just going to come in with that peach tone. We're going to get her whole skin tone done before we move on to another thing because I don't want to lose the paint that I've mixed, because remixing it and getting the same color is very difficult and next to impossible for me. So I don't want to remix it and end up with the wrong color. So it's best to work with the color that you've mixed until you're done with that area. Otherwise, you're just going to end up with a mismatch of color. All right, now we're going to soften that up. Yeah, exactly. And pick up some of that paint and soften up the edges here. Like so. Alright, just going to dab it just a little bit and lift up some of that color so it's not looking too orange. There we go, that's good. Now we're going to do the same thing down here on her belly, and then we'll move up to the other arm. and then we'll do her hair. How much time do we have? So we've only got about half an hour left, and unfortunately I can't go over today because we do have to do some stuff. And of course I'm not going to be able to make it to see Amazon Tammy today, but make sure that you do go over and say hi to her and see what she's got going on. She's always got some wonderful things going on. And I just went down the wrong one. Yeah, the old one, I actually got rid of the old one because the old one wouldn't cut. So if you have an old guillotine and it doesn't cut, um, the newer ones do quite well. And they have a personal size one now, so it's not such a great big huge thing. Okay, just putting in her shadow areas. I'm going to pick up a little bit of this purple here. Maybe a little touch of this blue here. That's better. I'm getting more of a gray purple instead of a pink. So pick up some of that blue. That's good. And we're going to get into those deeper areas. Trying not to do her clothes. Um, no, I don't. My mom would, but I don't. All right, now I'm going to soften out those colors a little bit with my brush. But my mom's also a master photographer, so she's very, very good at it. I am not. I shake too much and everything is all blurry. That's why I like filming this way because it's all on tripods and things holding it up. No, I think we're going into Salem. If we were coming into Albany, I would bring those things to you. But I know we're going into Salem. If we do come into Albany, I will have Bob stop by. Alright, so I'm just going to loosely throw some of this color on here, and then we'll spread it out and sort it out with the water brush. Try to make sure that we don't get into her clothing. The paper is a little bit thirstier here for some reason. Alright. No, you are perfectly safe to do such a thing. Alright, so I'm just going to take my water. I'm just going to start softening up the color here. Blending it in and softening it up. And then we're just going to take our, and then we're going to move it around a little bit more. Like so. Alright, so now we have her midriff done. We've got her arm done. Now we're going to do this arm up here. Yes, it is. Thank you very much for asking, though. Okay, so we're just going to pick up some of the purple. We're just not going to, we're going to mix the purple. We're not going to make a new batch of it. So we're going to take some of the purple from here and the white from here, and then we're going to just add some blue to it. Okay, so I've wet down the blue. I've filled up my brush with the blue. Now we're going to go into the purple with it. And we're just going to keep on adding that pink until we get to the color that we want. In one or the other. Now I have two. So I think this one here is closer to the purple I want. So I'm going to do around her spots here. In the shadows. Paint her nail there as well. Just going to add a little bit of that. There. Like so. The sketch has more ink in it. The chow is smaller. So I'm just going to go through with some of this pink as well. Just going to come off of some of that darker purple where the highlight is. And then over here as well. Now this here is her armband, her armor. And we're going to come up the staff. With the blue purple, and then we're going to come back in with the pink. Alright, there we go. Move it down so you guys can see what I'm doing. Yeah, the chows are the same quality and same sort of thing like that. They are just a little bit thinner and take less ink when you refill them. So they use up they are used up a little bit quicker, but other than that, there's not any difference in the quality or the shape or anything like that. All right, so I'm just gonna go through here and just going to add that peach tone. Yeah, and then we'll straighten it out and flush it out with the water pen. Yeah, no, the nib is no different. Yes, and the chows don't have as many of the colors as the um, sketch do either. The chows have 180 colors where the sketch have 300 and something. All right. Sorry if I go silent. I'm doing fiddly bits, and when I do fiddly bits, I go all silent because I don't want to do too much. All right, so now we're going to take our water brush, and I know this is a little bit redundant, and for all of, see, this is why I do this, because I just completely missed part of her arm. Chow is a 144. I can't remember how many are on the um, palette for the chow. I do have a palette that we print for the chow. Yeah, you thought you were doing well until you found out how many there actually are. Yeah. There is a lot of colors though. Alright, I'm going to dab. Gonna dab. Not too worried about going over the lines there because I'm going to use a different product on them, I think. Yeah, okay. I'm just looking and I'm making sure that I've covered all of the skin because, you know, sometimes it hides, like her ears. All right. Okay, there we have her skin tone. Just going to soften this up here a little bit more. And make sure that we get a good even coating there. All right. Okay, so we have her skin tone done. There is actually 3 sets, 4 different sets. There's a two 72s and two 44s, I do believe. Oh, and one 44 or something like that. I'm going to switch it on over to the main camera so you can see her skin. It's not perfect, but once it's dry, it'll be a lot easier to correct any areas and add any areas. So yeah, I like the way her eyes turned out. They are very light blue. Um, let's see, we've got about 20 minutes left, 25 minutes left. So I'm going to switch back on over to the close-up and we're going to do her hair. Now I'm not going to use this really thin brush for her hair right yet. We will be using it, but not for the main part of her hair. We're going to take our round and we're going to use that. So I'm going to use the yellow brown. And I'm going to get a bunch of it on my brush here. I may need to put another drop in that. I'm going to put that on the palette. I'm going to try to get as much of it off the brush as I can before I rinse. Oh, thank you. I appreciate that. Yes, I have missed it down here. But that's the great thing about watercolor paint, is you can just fill it in. Thank you, Ghost, for showing me that. And when it dries out, the thing with watercolor I have noticed is when it's wet, it's a lot easier to miss places. But you can just go in when it's dry and just fix them up. No, I have not. The only gouache that I have, or gouache that I have, is that one white gouache. I think I need a clean. My brown is not wetting. Might have to use the watercolor brush to wet it down. That's better. So that's more of an orange. And then we're going to take some black. It turns out okay. Yeah, I don't have any gouache. I thought about getting some because Ashley made me, want some, but I didn't buy any. All right, now we're going to put just a touch of black in there. And I'm going to actually go back to where you can see what I'm doing. There we go. Sorry, guys. And we're just going to add some black in here. Just need a very, very small amount. And I think I want it a little bit lighter, so we're also going to put some white in there. So I'm just making a mess at this moment. Don't mind me. I'm just trying to get to the right color for her hair. That's better. So I want to base her hair with this color, which is a olivey green, brown kind of color. And I want it to have that earthy tone to it to give us that druid kind of look. Now I'm adding water to it, making it nice and loose. Now I'm not going to add any more of that black to it because it's at the light consistency that I want. Alright, now I'm going to turn the book so that I'm working in the same direction as I can see. So I'm going to start down here and we're going to work up. I'm not going to worry about the really fine areas yet. I will do those with a finer brush. And we'll be adding some black and that kind of thing as we go along. Right now I'm just doing the base coat. Of her hair. And I'm going to move up there. And it will thin out when I take the other brush to it and add a bit more water. It will thin out to a more of a yellow olive brown green. And that's one of the reasons why I'm not too worried about making it too neat, because I will be going over it and adding to it. Ah, good to know. Try not to get her jewelry. If I do go over her jewelry, I'm not going to be too concerned about it, because I will be going through with a gel pen and finishing that off. Just getting that base color on top of that ink. So this is not sticking to that ink very well, so I'm just making sure that I get a good thick layer on there. Alright, I'm going to wash that off, and then we're going to take our pen. Where did I put it? Oh no. Where did I put it? I know I just had it. Oh dear. This is not good. Where did my pen go? Oh, there it is. It fell on the floor. Couldn't find my watercolor pen. No, I do not. If I did, I would be able to do so, but I do not. So I'm just going to take this brush and I'm going to go through, adding that water and spreading that color around a bit. And this looks terrible, but you know, what are we going to do? Then we're going to dab it and pick up off of that ink area. Like so. I'm going to come through here. Like so. Yeah, you know, you can take that right down the street from where you're going to Staples and they will spiral bind it. All right, so I'm just basically just going through and filling in the larger areas of the hair, dabbing any excess. Dragging that color down into the light areas. Like that. I think there's a little bit of, I think that's part of the tree or her horns. Yeah, I think that's it for that. Now I'm just going to bring some in here. Yeah. Alright, so now I've got the really fine brush and I'm just picking up the paint. And I'm going to come down through here. And I'm going to try to make sure that I get to the edges. Then we're going to get it to a really fine point and do our wisps. And I think this one's even not fine enough. I'm going to have to actually grab one of the finer ones. Hold on. Oh, I need a really, really fine one. This one. Just putting in the wisps on her face. And down through here on her ear. And I made a mess of that area, so we're just going to take our brush. And we're going to pick up a little bit of this. Cover it up. I think my pen is out of water. No, it's not. Yeah, just take it to Staples. They don't charge a whole lot. I think it's like $5 a book. And if it's just one book, it's not too bad. So I'm just going to clean this up. I notice that it's a little bit blotchy. So I'm just going to take some of that blotch out. Maybe because of me dabbing and adding water for the other color. So now we're just going to let that dry. Add a little bit more to her ear here. And I'm just picking it up now with the water pen, because I'm going to dab it off with the paper towel. Okay, so I think that's it for that. Now we're going to take our thin brush again, and we're going to finish putting in our hair strands. A little more water. Yeah, well, you know, You do what you're gonna do, you know. I've got so much that I want to use before I go buying new stuff. There's so many different brands and so many different things out there, and I have so many of them and don't use them nearly enough. So I'm really enjoying going through and using the collection. I get to use things I don't normally use because I forget I have them, or I just don't have time, or I see something else prettier and shinier that I want to use. Yeah, do that often too. All right, so I thought I saw a hair, but that's a branch. There's some hair up here. Pick that up. All right, now we're going to go through and we're just going to soften up some of those areas that are really heavy, where they're covering up the lines that the artist has put in. So we're just going to make them a little wet, and then we're going to pick up any excess paint off of those lines so that the lines stand out. And there we have her base coloring for her hair. All right, so we are coming close to the end here. So I'm going to switch you over to the main screen here so you can see what we have done so far. I've colored her skin tone and we've got her hair based out. We're still going to go through her hair with some highlights and some shadow areas, some darker colors and that sort of thing. The lighter color that I put on here will become the base of her hair, which will of course become the highlight color of her hair. Awesome! Yeah, it is. It's definitely helping me use things that I don't typically use. Um, and it allows you guys to not be completely bored with absolutely. Thank you so much for coming, B. With just the same pencils all the time, because there are several of them that I do tend to gravitate towards. And with as many pencil sets as I have, um, not all of them get used in a year. So doing the cauldron helps me make sure that everybody gets some love, and make sure that you guys get to see different things. I'm just putting in her eyebrows because it really bugs me when they have no eyebrows. So I just put in the brown on her eyebrows. Now I'm going to just dab it up a little, like that. All right, so there we have it. We're going to let her dry. Any imperfections in her skin tone and that sort of thing we'll try to fix next time. I'm going to leave this on my palette so that we have that color in case we need it to repair skin tones and that sort of thing. Thank you, Mona. I appreciate that. All right, guys. Yes, the paint puck. This is a paint puck. It's a paint cup that has a scrubby in the bottom of it that washes the brushes so that you can quickly wash them off and be done with it. So this here is a paint puck, and it's a dirty paint puck. All right, guys, with that, I would like to say thank you all very much for watching. Of course, if you have the links to Amazon Tammy, make sure that you go over there and say hello. If you have not already said hello to her before, um, make sure that you do. She will be on approximately 1 hour after me. I just posted the link for you. If you want to join us over on Patreon, please feel free to do so if you want to support the channel. I do provide different perks over on Patreon. There are 3 different tiers. So hopefully there's something in there that will fit everyone's budget. Of course, always, you can of course join us on Facebook or Discord as well. Those are 2 different places that you can show me what you're working on and show me different things that you're doing. All right, guys, so with that, I would like to say thank you very much for joining us. Of course, always remember to like, comment, and subscribe to any YouTube artists that you enjoy. And always, always remember to relax, color, and stay safe, everyone. Until next time, bye-bye for now.